Great morning, everyone, and welcome. Hopefully, you guys are having a fantastic day. Let me get started with you guys. We have JP and Week's wife. What's up, guys? Welcome. So, yesterday, man, yesterday was what a day. Because for me, well, not much went right. Well, that's not truth. I mean, many things went right, but we did had two hits. Remember that we were testing the waters. We have two hits, less than a quarter of a position, but still, it's not fun to get hit. Also, well, my software did decide to update, and then everything just looked upside down. Very bad scenario right there. But let's get it. Let's go to the charts. Why not? And let's go and take a look at what we had on the charts. Let's get it. Hey, what's up, guys? So here it is. Let's get started with Cake. Cake was one of the few that we were looking at the beginning here. It was the first one that we decided to go in with a quarter. Well, Litecoin, no, I actually mentioned that we're not going to be going into that one. And here it is, a quarter of position with Cake. So that's what we left out. Cake. On that quarter of a position, there we go, went back into here, bounced a little bit, not enough to get out of that position, and well, continuation downwards. We also could see this reversing back down. Well, we were expecting something like that could happen, and it did. All right, so far, what we're going to be doing. I just say that let's just take the weekend. Let's keep an eye on what's going on. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, Litecoin, and couple of other coins just to set a baseline. But other than that, weekend, low volume, numbers not playing out on the job numbers. FOMC also not really looking great. I mean, the only, I would say, good point is that maybe we're going to have some rate cuts. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Still, everything in the market is just dumping. It is just dumping. All right. So let's get it. After Cake, we also went and looked at Farcoin, if I'm not mistaken. On Farcoin, that's where we decided to jump in with a quarter of an entry. Oh, this is Bitcoin. We'll take a look at Bitcoin in a second, all right, just to see where we left out. And also, where are we right now? All right, so Farcoin, we were in a very strong area of support, maybe looking for that bounce to the upside. Again, a quarter of a position with taking profits as we go up in here. All right, so how is Farcoin doing? Exactly the same. Let me just minimize this, bring back our volume profile, and I usually use this volume profile to give me very nice entries with falling knife, but doesn't always plays out very nicely, as nice as most of the cases, right? So what happened here, we had an order block somewhere around here, in fact right here, and we set up a stop loss. The first week I thought that we nailed that, because after these kind of weeks, but then most likely we're gonna be going to the upside. We have a secondary one, then going back up in profits, and well, that was pretty excited. But at the end of it all, we ended up getting a stopped out. Remember, this is a quarter of an entry, but we don't risk the full quarter. We risk less of it because of our stop loss. Nonetheless, it is what it is. Let's leave Fartcoin behind, because look at that, we still having some movement to the downside, despite we have a bullish divergence. The bullish divergence did play it out, but we reaffirmed the moving lower with this candle. Why am I not shorting? I mean, this would have been an amazing short, right? First, because this happened throughout the previous FOMC meeting, and we were trading Bitcoin. And then after that, what happens? Well, we were looking for some bouncing action. We still don't have it. We're going to be waiting for areas of support like around here. We are very close to those areas, but still, I'm not going to enter until I see a double top, a double bottom, a higher low, or some sort of bottoming pattern in here. Let's bring up our indicators to see how is it looking. So far, engulfing candle. All right, still not gonna be entering right there. Support areas, we are on a support, very close to a support zone. Also, we have right here a liquidity zone. So I'm going to be adding an alert right here. Let's say at the top of that liquidity zone. So far, I'm going to be looking just for entering zones, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be taking those entries right away. I'm going to be just waiting to have a little bit more of advantageous position. So why or what am I looking? It is, first of all, start looking some green in the power bar. All right, so some green in the power bar. The second one, we already got it, which is rising up the money flow. I still want to see going up, and finally breaking through my zero line, the money flow breaking through my zero line, and having a flip of the ribbon at some support. So far, the closest support is right here. So as we are coming back down, I want to see something like this, maybe some sweep of the lows, maybe some swell failure pattern, maybe going up in here, maybe breaking like this because you really is a little bit too far away this trend line, and finally completing a breakout with a higher low. All right, so that's something that I'm imagining it could be playing out. Again, why do I say that I'm imagining it? That is because there is no certainty that that is going to be playing out. All right, so this is one of those things that it's part of a bottoming pattern. But other than that, well then, let's go and take a look at what else we got in there. All right, let's go and take a look and let's talk about Bitcoin. All right, on Bitcoin, here it is. We are breaking the range. Let's go for an updated line. Let's me turn everything up. And let's start drawing some trend lines like this. As you may notice right now, going for a very flat range that was like in here. Now having a third bounce, we can draw a slightly tilted line. So let's go for that slightly tilted line. Let's not ignore the fact that it is playing out in there. Another one is maybe grabbing this pivot, going through this one, and let's see where is that getting into. And as you can see, look at that, very, very close to that same area. In fact, I can either just move it slightly bit so I can cross around this one, and well, we are right there on a support. In fact, we have, oh, come on, not that one. We have, and there we go, a support line right there, a manual support line. What is it? At 13K. Remember that was what, Monday or Tuesday that we're looking through 13K. And remember, we talked about this fair value gap and most probably going to the center of that fair value gap. So we're finally hit it. It doesn't seem that we're gonna right away flipping here. It seems like we might be just covering over this area for a little bit more. Maybe we can go for some sweep of the lows. In fact, I'm gonna be moving my alert instead of moving this one, because this one is the one that I really like, the 110. This is the one that I've been talking about for a long time. Let's add a new one right here around 112, 111. I'm trying to catch this high in here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me use this one right there, that high. And it seems I have nailed it right here. All right. I want to see what's going to happen if we have that sweep of the lows. If that comes back down really quickly and then come back up, I'm going to just let it go. I'm not going to be opening up a order just blindly. The one that I want to jump in on spot, it is going to be the 110. I already have a spot order, but that is just part of my plan. I'm not going to be mad if I buy high at this point, all right? Why? Because we have reached all the way to 123 and getting back at 110, well, it's not that big of a deal, especially if you're not risking it with some leverage. We have TA Joe. What's up, Trading Tuition? How is it going, my friend? Welcome. Lucky Bud here. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Thank you so much for jumping in. I really appreciate your timing here, my friend. Really love it. All right. So 2 hits. By the way, I don't know if you were here. We had 2 hits from Wednesday. Wednesday, 2 hits. We were testing the waters with Cake, and look at that. What a dump, right? And the other one was Firecoin and meme coin. I was trying to squeeze out a little bit of that meme coin vibe. I thought that we might have that. You know what? This is looking low, so we could pump it up, and then somebody just dump it on Fartcoin, but it seems like they just went for the dump. All right. So then, what else? What else on Bitcoin? On Bitcoin, we have our very first area of resistance. Let's leave it as is. Now we're measuring maybe something like a sweep of the lows, a certain failure pattern, something that can go a little bit lower at 111 to do another analysis. And finally, a 110, which is an open support entry. Now, well, I think that we're going to leave it as is. Let's go for a long position. This is going to be a long position. I'm just going to be doing a stop loss in here and giving it a little bit of a wiggle room, and then just aiming at the top of that range. Little caveat, I'm not using a stop loss on the spot because regardless what happened, I'm just going to keep that Bitcoin, all right? It's going to go to my average entries into my savings account, all right? So it doesn't really matter for me here, but if you're going to go leverage, remember, first do your analysis once we're hitting 111, and then if we get in here, set your stop loss. I'm just giving you an idea where that stop loss could be, all right, which is somewhere around 106. By the way, I think we need to stretch that out a little bit lower here, because as we have seen on the morning market report, the 106 area, it is the maximum pain for locks. So are we gonna get there? Maybe. Hey, KDGT, how's it going, brother? Welcome. All right, so by the way, KDGT, we talked about the two hits that we got, Cake and Fartcoin. Less than 1/4 of a position, so not much. But still, man, I don't like to be hit like that, but whatever. All right. Let's move into something like Ethereum. Ethereum, it is dropping. It is getting to one of our support areas right here, which is very close to the dynamic reactor. In fact, if we zoom in enough, we'll see that we have tried to pierce dynamic reactor. And look at that. We are trying to make a flip of the ribbon. Very like, I don't know, vanilla looking like. So I do think that we're not going to hold. Nevertheless, this is a support in our strategy tells us to long it. I'm still not going to long it. I'd rather let this go. But why am I mentioning that it is supposed to be a long? Because we're almost at the flip of the ribbon. Our prime score is very positive. It's very green. We are on big support. And well then, we already have couple of order blocks. We could be just waiting for confirmation, which is the actual flip of the ribbon. But by that time, I think that we already could be having a little bounce. Still, because I want to be right now on the safe zone, I'm not going to be trading Ethereum for this weekend. Could I be missing out on this entry? Yes, I could, but that is fine. It doesn't really hurt me, especially since we have another trend line in here. Look at that, bounce, and a little bounce in here. We could be looking, and also there we go, a loud order block. We could be looking at a positioning for a short position. Like, for example, bouncing up into the resistance and then a continuing downwards like this, all right? So far, not much to be done here. I'm going to be marking my possible entry for the short. That's going to be it. And until I break, retest, and continue, this is going to be my next possible entry, right around where we are right now, but after the breakout. So far, I think this weekend is going to be a chill out weekend, or just looking into the charts to see how things are just moving around. Let's take a look at TAO, because TAO, oh boy, I mean, this is not doing great. This one was a very good one. It still was a sudden break to the downside. Let's just remove some stuff in here. And also, let's just get rid of these alerts. And then let's take a look at where we could be looking for some entries in there. Hey, OC, good to see you, brother. Good to see you, my friend. Great to have you here. Shine up that disco ball we're getting. on the dance floor. Love it, love it. All right. So far, where do we have some support? A little bit lower than I would love it to. 313. Let's add an alert in here. And of course, as alerts goes, you know, like I like to push them a little bit higher. Very close where we are right now. And why am I kind of like going for this one? Look at our oscillator here. We already have a bullish divergence. That means that despite we have rising volume or momentum in this case, we have prices going downwards. I think TAO might be next to Ethereum, one of those coins that could be bouncing to the upside. Still, this is the weekend. I don't want to trade it. Let's just leave it as is. But if you're looking to trade it, remember this would be a very dangerous trade. But I'm thinking that we might have another drop and then maybe going upwards. Maybe having a flat hidden divergence. So that means that we could be going all the way down here where we start some interest zones. Let's see if we have something else. We have a predictive range a little bit lower. We have, there we go, a liquidity zone and a support zone in here. So let's move it lower like this. And that's where we're gonna be looking for a possible entry right there. Like get your stop loss right below the resistance or the support and give yourself that wiggle room. And then we're gonna be aiming to TP number 1 and TP number 2. So far, so good. I think this is gonna be it. All right. Again, this is not an open order. I'm gonna be taking a look once again once we start hitting the 328.2. If we hit that, why is that? Because we're already a little bit overextended, right? We already have a bullish divergence, and there's a real chance that we can just go higher here, right? Break out, come back down, retest, and in that case, I'm gonna be adding a alert right here to reposition myself for the retest. And then, this depending on where we're located, depending on our money flow, I'm gonna be going for a long to the dynamic reactor, all right? Or a continuation to our next entry zone. But so far, again, we need to step down the game for now. All right, so today's gonna be a little bit of a shorter class. We still have 5 more minutes to 30 minutes to go. Let's take a look at a couple of other things like Link. I also want to take a look at ADA and Solana. Talking about Link and ADA, they're very close to each other. I mean, almost exact same scenario. I think we are overextended here. Let me clear this up so we can also bring up, what is it? My volume profile bar magnifier. It is all the way down here, very close to our alert. I still think that this is still valid, all right? And let me just get rid of this. I think this is still valid. And that brings me, by the way, I don't know why I still have this RSI, but we're very low here, which actually brings me to our RSI primed. This one in here, depending on how we close these candles, I think we could be having tiny candles, all right? So if we zoom in right here, this 1, 2 candles, they're very small, but not tiny. This one last, if we don't move that much in price, I think that could be that one, that tiny candle that could get started a reversal. What kind of reversal? I think something like that, all right? So not quite a bit of a huge reversal, but more or less like a big range that could be lasting the rest of the week. So why not? Let's add a alert right here, taking a look at our area of resistance right between this resistance and that support. All right, let me see if I can just change this. Yeah, there we go. Look at that, between that resistance and that support right there, acting as, of course, a support and resistance. Do we have anything in there? Well, a lot of order blocks at the top, and of course this lower order block. I'm gonna be looking for this target if I start ringing the 1559. But other than that, let's just let it range to see what's gonna be the direction. Still, not everything is set on paper, but it's set in stone, but it's still, this is a possible range that we could be jumping in. Hey, Drew, how is it going, Drew? Welcome, my friend. Nice to have you around. All right, I also mentioned ADA. Do we have ADA, Cardano? And yep, we do. It's right here. A little bit more of the same. We already have taken a couple of trades. Let's just clean this up. And as you can see, we're not that close to this area, but we have the same overextension in here and the same tiny candles. Something that I failed to show you, it is, there we go, and let's come back in here. Where is, come on, where are you? It's not Litecoin. Link, there we go. Link is that the shape of your oscillator, which is very close to ADA's shape of the oscillator, all right? Why does that matter? Well, if we go just back in time, we're gonna be looking for those double tops of that little mountain that they tend to be very aggressive on their breakout, all right? So that's why I'm going to be looking for areas of re-entry. Again, it's not that I'm going to be trading on weekends. It's not that I really like it, but I'm still going to be keeping an eye on them. As you can see, same shape in here that we can maybe do and have a diamond peak performance diamond right there. So maybe some sweep of the lows, same exact strategy that we're looking into a link, looking for this trend line. Maybe we can have a sweep of the lows and then a break through that trend line, going to dynamic reactor, bouncing back down for a double bottom, and then creating a higher low. All right, so that's what I'm expecting here on ADA. As you can see, I just have a little bit of a lower alert in here, even below my daily support. And that is because I have a predictive range in here next to a smart money entry. So that's why I'm looking at putting my alert a little bit higher and, well, then trying to prevent for whatever the weekend brings. JR, what's up, brother? Welcome, my friend. Thank you a lot for spending your time in here. Almost miss you all. Great, you made it in time, brother. Welcome. All right. Other than that, let's go and take a look at something a little bit different. Well, different, quote unquote, right? Something that is all like very, very extended. One of those things, it is Jupiter. I like Jupiter. I don't know why. Maybe it's just its name, but I also like the way it moves, or it creates some patterns in here, right? And we have a very steep trend line, and I don't think that we're gonna hold it for that long. We're also very close to our volume profile bar magnifier order block right here, all right? And that means that for some reason, not for some reason, because we have this big order block playing out here, we could be having a bounce from there, getting to meaningful highs and creating a double bottom scenario here, all right? So what is gonna be setting my alerts? A little bit low in here to this VPVR, and then a little bit high in here above or in this ranging zone. All right, so so far, I think today it's going to be a day of waiting. I believe that we could still have a little bit of a downward movement. I expect, because we already are on ranging zones on most of the cases, I do expect to see some movements in the altcoins to the sideways movement in the altcoins throughout the weekend. And maybe a meme coin launches to the upside, but I'm not going to be going after those because it just represents too much of a risk, especially right now that we're having such bad data on the macro markets. So things are looking like they're crumbling. New tariff, bad job numbers. I mean, things are not looking great, but still we need to let the dust settle to look for a direction and then start adding into the altcoin season, right? I'm sorry, into the altcoin, because we're absolutely not into an altcoin season. Remember that we called that out on the morning market report. Piper was mentioning, well, looking at the top indicators for Bitcoin, we're not all the way up there. So based on also retracement or rotation of capital, we're not on an altcoin season. Maybe I mentioned in a smaller altcoin season in between Bitcoin ranges. That's usually what happens when Bitcoin range. People get bored, they go into altcoins, altcoins blow, take their money. Whoever is late to take their money, they just take whatever they can, and we have that trickle down effect, that snowball effect to the downside, putting back that allocation into Bitcoin. So let's take a look at, just for good measure, to Bitcoin or BTCD or Bitcoin dominance. BTCD, come on, where are you? BTCD, there he goes, Bitcoin dominance. Let's add it and let's watch it. What I'm expecting to see, and I already have seen it, yes, higher lows, but not quite there yet on creating a higher high. I mean, we could absolutely be creating, I think that's gonna be it, a flat top triangle, in where we're gonna see ultimately sell out of some altcoins and finally breakout continuation back to a 64-ish zone. So username, what's up, buddy? Time to play Battle Toads. I love it, love it. Yeah. And actually, I was about to call out today's show. Just wanted to jump in and to say hi to you guys. Also, offer you guys a sorry, because yesterday I updated my software and everything. I just was upside down. I have like mobile frame, what is it, like aspect ratio. I couldn't do anything, man. It took me hours just to rebuild this thing. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining. Enjoy your weekend, please. Stay a little bit out of the charts. Set your alerts so you're not just peeking and peeking and peeking. Enjoy it. Maybe come back tomorrow night or Sunday night. I think Sunday night will be a great place to start looking into Monday's movement. And well, then take it slow, because I think we still have a little more movement to the downside. I already explained it, just touching it back in here, that couple of meme coins might be blowing up, because that is just what happens. We have a big retracement. People go, yeah, this is too low on meme coins. Let's kind of like go Hail Mary here, and then they shoot it, and then they dump it again. All right, because as soon as they're making their money back, they just run out as far as they can. So I would not financial advise, but advise not to start jumping into meme coins unless you're doing it in a controlled environment. What is that controlled environment? You have some extra money to jump in there. You don't care about losing that extra money. You're using low leverage, and of course you're allocating on a crazy low zone. All right, so hey, Harp, what's up, brother? Kelly, what's up, Kelly fan? Welcome, welcome. Shabby, what's up? And well then, guys, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for deciding to spend a little bit of your time here with me. Really appreciate it, guys. A quick reminder to click that like button, because it really helps with the algorithm. Other than that, guys, thank you so much, and as always, see you guys on Monday.